The Pat Pod, hanging with the Hickey squad, think he's cool. We do too. Listen up, he speaks the truth. The Pat Pod, be a part of Hickey squad. No more singing, go, go, go. This is the Pat Hickey Show.
Hi there, welcome. This is the Pat Pod. He's Pat Hickey, I'm Rusty Humphries, and welcome to the program. We sure appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right there, and also hit the notification button so you can make sure you know every time a new Pat Pod is released. And you can also follow Pat Hickey at HickeyNum1
at gmail.com.
Oh, that's your email?
No, that's at phickey at vtag.
Well, you don't have to. You don't want to be emailed. You're a busy
What
guy.
do you want to hit up?
I was doing Twitter.
Yeah.
And Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook. Okay.
At
That's
HickeyNum1. Right.
Right. Okay.
That's what I was doing.
I'm sorry. Right.
You're going forward.
You got me on email. I'm sorry.
Hey, you now have his private email address, which don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
It'll be a mess. All right. So, Pat.
You want to help
For
you?
some people, for some people, it's been a tough time. We got the pandemic going on. Some people losing money. Other people are doing pretty well.
Right.
But at some point, we all go through a rough month, a rough time. How do you get through that? How have you gotten through times like that?
Well, I mean, I think we all right now, is it a bad time or a tough time? It's not a bad time. It's a tough time. It's tougher. I don't even say it's tough yet. But I think that it depends between discipline and motivation. We're all going to be motivated or unmotivated sometimes, but it's really discipline, and going back to basics and going back to, what made you what you are today. If you really go back and true to yourself and go, hey, what got you to the position you're in life? Did you work harder when you were starting or at the end? Or it's the same work ethic? Everyone has to answer that for themselves. And there's old sayings like rich and good looking or fat, they call them fat and lazy, right? I don't like that one. I like rich and good looking better.
Yeah,
I like rich and good looking, but fat and lazy, it's that at the end of the day, we forget that it's the basics. You got to go back to being disciplined versus being motivated.
Okay, so what kind of discipline did you find that really helped you get
Hey, it's about habits, basic habits. Like, here, what time do you get up in the morning? I mean, I've never really met super successful rich guys that got up at like 10 in the morning.
Right, it's usually about noon, right?
Right, yeah, noon or 1 o'clock. Right. But at the end of the day,
Now, seriously, what time do they get up?
Well, I was talking to someone today, he gets up every day at 3:30 in the morning. And I thought that was like I'm like, You get up at 3:30 every morning? He's like, yeah. He goes, because East Coast, they're 3 hours ahead of us. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, yeah, it's right. So he did a lot of business East Coast. And I'm like, so he has to get up at 3:30 every day. By the time he gets to work, it's 4:30, right? And then he's working at 4:30. By 7:30, most people, they don't even get up. They're getting out of bed at 7:30.
Right.
He's got 3-4 hours ahead of you. That guy's ahead of the curve. And by the way, the guy's very successful.
Okay.
And I think that's part of his success. His basic disciplines. He's not motivated to get up every. Man, I like to stay up till 3:30, not get up at 3:30. But at the end of the day, a guy that's disciplined and does those kind of habits and is very disciplined about it, would be really good money-making habits, and will get you through these bad times or tough times or whatever word you want to put on what we're going through right now. My boss says a lot of headwinds we got right now with the political climate, with the financial climate, with the just people climate, all those people. And I saw something yesterday on the news. I saw these young kids and they were just like this in front of a cop, 2 inches away from a cop, and I'm like, man, if that was my kids, I would give them a slap. Which most parents would say. I mean, I was wondering what their parents were saying about that.
I'd love to take that finger and just.
The cop was so humble and he was so gracious and he just sat there and he took it and he didn't, like most of us, if someone did that to us, we'd react, right? But he was, very humble, which we forget. A lot of these guys, they're so gracious, so humble. Man, who could be that gracious or humble? I couldn't be.
Right.
I'm not strong enough to be that way, but I think that they're disciplined. Those police officers, and again, there's bad ones, there's good ones, but they're disciplined. Like, we have to be disciplined, right? And when people are undisciplined, like those bad behaviors, bad things happen, right?
Sure. Well, like the undisciplined, if you're talking about police, and there's some people that are mad at the cops, I'm not mad at them, but there are some undisciplined ones that aren't behaving properly.
They're undisciplined, right?
And that's why, there's some issues.
Or they weren't showed discipline.
Right.
They did things and they weren't showed discipline, just like when we behave or our kids behave. When they act up, if you have a kid that you never discipline, what do they turn out to be usually?
Right.
Think about it. So the discipline versus motivation, I don't care who you are. There's unmotivated times in our life that, you're just bummed out, you're crapped out, whatever word you want to put on it. But at the end of the day, if you're disciplined during that time, you usually get by it a lot quicker than if you're just oh, I'm not. If you're undisciplined and unmotivated, man, that's a recipe for disaster.
Okay.
I mean, a disaster. Because then everything that bad can happen will happen. You'll even promote bad things to happen to you if you're not disciplined.
All right,
So,
let's talk about some specifics, though. What time do you get up?
I usually get up at 5:30 every day.
What time do you go to bed?
I usually go to bed around 10:30 or 11.
12, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, so that's 8 hours.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I use 10:30, 11. I get up at 5:30 every day.
Okay.
And then, I do the normal habits, go back, take a shower, So they say SSS.
Right.
But,
What time do you get? What time do you
Yeah.
get to work?
I usually get to work every day at about 7:15. I have a 7:30 meeting every day, and so I'm 15 minutes Lombardi time. Be 15 minutes early, or you're always late, right?
Right.
And then so I'm get there at 7:15. I have my meeting prepared from the night before. We have a meeting every day at 7:30. I keep that every day. Everybody knows what to expect. That's about being disciplined. If you have people that work for you and they don't know what to expect, and you give them something different than they expect, that's when you have problems with employees, I think.
So you prepare for your meeting, or you just show up and?
No, I just wing it every day. No, I prepare.
Well, I mean, you've done this long enough. I would think.
No,
you could.
I every night I prepare my meeting and I write it down, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to go over, and then I prepare for the meeting, and then I have it every day at 7:30.
Okay. So is that one of the things that you notice a lot of, not specifically your employees, but people that are trying to move forward, is that maybe not enough preparation?
Well, preparation, but number two, like, hey, if you watch a football game, they have a huddle after every play. Why? They're going to, hey, things change within the game. Things change within the quarter. Things change. I mean, every day you need to have a new huddle. So I think being prepared, being disciplined. If you have bad times and you're not altering fast enough, you might have to have 2-3 meetings a day. If the times are really tough, you might have to have, sometimes we have 6-7 meetings a day. If by 12 o'clock we don't have enough sales, we bring everybody together and say, hey, what's going on? What did we do good? What did we do bad? Let's address the issues we haven't done. Because discipline, most people are undisciplined.
Right.
So that's why they have things that don't get accomplished by not having goals written down, not going after their goals, not having a plan, not being disciplined about their plan. Think about eating. I mean, God, I wish I'm not disciplined about eating.
Yeah, I am. You can tell by just looking at me.
But, here, I mean, anything that's good for you tastes horrible.
Yeah.
So you have to force yourself
Right.
to be disciplined to eat good stuff. Well, I'm not disciplined.
Yeah.
Because I love stuff that tastes like pizza and pasta and cake and candy and Coca-Cola and So, but you have to be disciplined. And if you see these, I have a mad respect for bodybuilders because they're like, oh, those guys are meatheads or those guys are dumb. Man, actually, it's quite the opposite. Those guys are super disciplined. They're super smart, and they are organized because you have to be. You can't be a bodybuilder to get that physique by being undisciplined. You can't just eat at whatever. I mean, no one's that gifted.
Right.
Those super big bodybuilders are so disciplined. If they went to that discipline in their business life, they'd be billionaires.
Wow. Okay.
They'd be billionaires because that's how disciplined they are about their body and about their eating and about their food cycles and about their steroids and about their. They say, well, no, they don't take steroids. That's a joke. They don't take that stuff. But they're disciplined. They're disciplined. Right?
Well, I think that's one of the things you're talking about, meetings and resetting. One of the reasons why we do this show is that there's a library of different things that you can go and look at, different topics, so you can watch them and kind of help reset yourself if you're not in an organization like Pat's where they have meetings all the time.
Right.
And I'm guessing that for a lot of guys, 4 or 5 meetings a day, they're, oh my God, what, another one?
Right, it's grindy, right? Hey, and here, it's only a grind when it's not getting done. Hey, why do you have a meeting? If there's no purpose for the meeting, don't have a meeting, just have a meeting. You have a meeting to get a plan done. If the plan's not getting executed, you need to re-meet and redo your plan because execution is part of being disciplined. And if you'll see most people, if you say, hey, I need you to do this, and then you inspect it and they didn't do it, then they need disciplinary actions because they're not following the disciplines you put out there for them.
Probably another good discipline is to do something a lot of people don't do anymore, and that's, what's it called? Oh yeah, read. Read books.
Wow.
Read books.
You mean not just look at the pictures?
Not just look at the pictures.
I like the pictures.
Well, YouTube videos also are very helpful too, but again, that's the preparation. That's the taking a little time to educate yourself and to kind of get that into your DNA.
Well, there's a lot of books out there that say that people that don't read are unintelligent than people that do read. That's kind of an oxymoron, though, if you think about it. Of course they are, right?
Right.
Is at the end of the day, right? If you're making the mind's a muscle, your brain's a muscle, right? If you don't work out your muscle, what happens to it? Atrophy.
Right.
Right. So no matter any muscle, your brain, you don't work it, it becomes less smart, right? If you don't use it, they lose it, right? Yeah.
So work your brain.
Work your brain. Be disciplined.
Be disciplined.
And be motivated, and you get exponential benefits.
And these are all things you can do.
That's right. It's easy.
It's kind of one of those things you just got to make yourself do it, right?
There's only one thing that can control, only one person can control it, you. You're in charge of you, nobody else. If you do it, you get it done. If someone else does it, they get the credit and you won't do it.
I saw a great thing online today, and the school that did it probably is going to get in trouble. But it was a thing at a school, and it was a big bulletin board thing, and it said, the person in charge of your grades, and there was a mirror. The person in charge of your clothing, there was a mirror.
Yeah.
And you know,
that's right.
It's true.
And that's true.
There's nobody else that you can blame or for your success or failure other than you.
And at the end of the day, if you know you don't do it, who's gonna do it? If you don't do it, who's gonna do it? I mean, you want to blame something. You know, I love it. They're blaming today's world. If the teachers, I know, God bless teachers, right? I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and you should hear their parents, like especially Zoom meeting. They have these Zoom meetings, and the teachers like, your kid's not getting the homework done, and the parents want to argue. And I'm like, instead of saying, yeah, I'll fix it, they say they want to blame the teacher. And the teacher shows them evidentiary proof that it's not, that they're just not doing it. Yet the parents continue to want to argue instead of saying, hey, you know, I don't know, if my dad said I didn't do my homework, my dad would have gave me a slap.
Right.
I mean, say, hey, Dad, don't worry about it, I'll handle it.
Right.
The homework would have been done, right?
Right.
And you know, I don't.
And it can't be easy doing.
I don't agree with hitting
Zoom.
your kids. I don't agree with that at all. But I do agree that hey, there has to be discipline or disciplinary actions for inaction. If you're required to do something, you got to have some punishment. And we all have punishment. If we don't do something, hey, don't pay your mortgage. They'll discipline you. They'll take your house.
Oh, I'm guessing at a car dealership, don't do your job, you're not going to get money.
You get terminated, or you don't get money, or you don't get hair. And again, and it comes down to life is about disciplines. If you look at and there's books, right? 7 Habits of Successful People. You know, billionaires, they're not lucky. They keep people, oh man, I wish I was that lucky. Hey, is there luck involved? Yes, there is. But I guarantee you, any billionaire you ever know or you ever meet, you ask him about his disciplines, watch what he says. Those guys, I mean, even when they're billionaires, they still do. They'll get up at 3 in the morning. Man, if I was a billionaire, I'd walk around in a robe all day, and they'd be like, "Why do you have a robe?" Because I can. I don't have to be disciplined anymore. If I became a billionaire, I'd be like, "I don't need to be disciplined anymore."
You'd be living in the Playboy mansion and wearing a
mansion. I don't know where I'd be living in any mansion, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, you can, you know. But it's weird when the billionaires I've met or I've been fortunate enough to be around. They're like super, like they're almost like freaky disciplined.
Yeah. Like
freaky disciplined. They're like over-disciplined. Oh, I mean, it's almost to the point, it's like, I wouldn't want to be that disciplined.
Right.
To be that, if I had to be that, that's why I'm not that wealthy. I don't want to be that disciplined. But if you want to be really wealthy, you got to be really disciplined.
All right.
That's the key.
Great advice. Make sure, here's some other great advice. Subscribe to the Pat Hickey podcast and hit the subscription and the little bell so you get notified every time the show comes out. Also, you could follow Pat at HickeyNum1 on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram and all those great places. We sure appreciate you. We'll catch you next time here on the Pat Pod. For Pat Hickey, I'm Rusty Humphries, and this is the Pat Hickey Show.
Thank you.